Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothed the grass, which is today in the field and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And seek not ye what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord. Praise ye the Lord.
For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. To the kingdom of Israel!
Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua, Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua, Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua, Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua.
The election, an aristocracy, meaning rule of the best, a group or class considered superior to others, a government by the best men in the state, a governing body composed of the best men in the state, and that's the elect. We're about to have it all right? Psalms 37 and verse 11, and it reads, "But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace." That word for peace in the Hebrew is shalom, which goes into safety, soundness in body, meaning we're going to truly have rest, welfare, health, prosperity, peace, quiet, tranquility, contentment. So we're going to fully enjoy the planet Earth. We're going to rule and exist within the Lord's creation as we were created to do. I'm ready to rule the world, man. How about you?
Let the golden light of this sunset guide our hearts in peace.
Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
The ocean spirit dances today to abundance and joy and to eternal peace.
See, this is what we're hoping for. This is part of our hope. Not only that we are members of the elect with fruits meet for repentance, like John the Baptist said, but from our lowest state, because we've been brought low, even though we have this knowledge, we have this truth. Remember what it said in Revelation. I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. Why are we rich? Because we're rich in faith. We have this knowledge. So our hope is at our last end, we're going to be increased. Okay? And if you ask me, the greatest riches right now is to be delivered by Yahweh Shai is to get that new body that the Apostle Paul spoke about in 1 Corinthians 15th chapter, to get that, get that new body where we'll never be sick, we'll be immortals, like it said in 1 Corinthians 15, to be delivered from the coming destruction, and to be a part of Yahweh Shai's cabinet in the next kingdom. Okay, those are the real riches right now. That's what we want to get. Because if you get that, you got everything. I mean, you got everything. Okay, so our sights are set a lot higher than this present world. All right, as it is written, the fashion of this world shall pass away. We are individuals of vision, and the scripture said where an individual lacks vision, he perishes. Okay, so we can see the future, right? And we
All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elder of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rakakadash, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashim Shai. All right, and what I want to get into this morning, dealing with this morning news and prophecy, is the control grid is here, just a matter of time. Okay, and what we're seeing, is this war that's happening in the background, while at the forefront, this devil is rolling out this new world order. Okay, and there's going to be emphasis on America, because America has to get caught up, with a lot, with the world, especially those countries in the East, because you go into the nations, all right, there's more, you go into these nations that's ahead of America as far as New World Order already, there's more of those nations that's in the East, your Singapore, okay, Japan, China, all right, even Russia, okay, India, all right, even, Africa has, and a, what you call an alliance, okay, let's look that up real quick, let's look at Africa, because, let's look this up too, let's go here. So I asked, just a quick Google ask, it says the world trending towards an interconnected digital world. It says, yes, the world is rapidly trending toward digital government, though it is evolving as an interconnected web within nations rather than a single global network. And see, they have to get these nations on board, okay, and these nations to a certain point to where they can interconnect, okay, and make it global. All right, so you have nations, that are farther along than other nations when it comes to this new world order rollout, with China being the farthest, okay, by far. You see? So what we're seeing within these different governments is a push, all right, for these governments to get to a certain point, and they're going to interconnect all these governments of the world, on this one system, okay, and make this technology mandatory to exist within this system. You see, and that's the way that these devils are going. All right, it said driven by AI and cloud adoption, governments are focusing on seamless citizen experience and interagency data sharing. Okay, which means the FBI has all the data that the CIA has. The CIA has all the data, that the U.S. Marshals have. Okay, the Congress has all the data. Just data, it just flows seamlessly through all these government, entities. Okay, so there's no separation of the data. It's all on one big system. Okay, and this is what these devils are pushing towards: is one system. Okay, it's all about control. Right now, the elites need control. All right, they want to make it to where they can never be an uprise against, all right, the oligarchs. Okay, there can never be a revolution. There can never be an alternative narrative to what they say is true. This is the type of control that they want. And they want control on the individual level, you see, to make people self-govern themselves, okay? To modify behavior, you see? And it's all through an interconnected digital system, that they have the ambition to do this. And it's a foolish ambition, okay, for this man to try to be the Most High. That's a very foolish and childish ambition. Okay, so it says, driven by AI and cloud adoption, governments are focusing on seamless citizen, all right, experiences and interagency data sharing, though it is heavily balanced by a push for digital, all right, sovereignty. The movement is taking shape through distinct, all right, observable dynamics. Okay, so it says connected national ecosystems. Say governments are shifting from disconnected department-specific websites to unified digital identities. Okay, Estonia's, all right, e-residency, okay, or the US login.gov, okay, that follow, all right, that allow citizens to access all public services through a single portal, man. So we're seeing, things constantly being consolidated, okay, and drawn down to this one system. Okay. They got this thing called a super app where you have all your apps in one app. Okay. Let's see. Let's ask you this. All right. Does the whole country, all right, the whole country of Africa, yeah, Africa have a digital, all right, currency? Should answer they working towards. Should have answered they're working towards a digital currency. See what it say. It says while the African Union AU has long-term aspiration for a unified physical or digital currency, the regions, all right, the current digital currency landscape is highly fragmented. All right, now let me go to, are they working? All right, so active, we know Nigeria is the only country on the continent to fully launch a digital currency, the E, all right, there are, all right, though it has faced low public adoption rate. Yeah, people ain't feeling it. All right, let me see. Is Africa working towards a unified digital currency? Because it was an agreement that they made a few months ago that they were all on board, all the different African nations, African. Yeah, they had this. Forgot that agreement, but all 54 countries in Africa agreed, to a digital currency. they all had signed on to it. You know, now the physical rollout of it hasn't happened yet. Okay, but they're working towards their way. I forgot the name of it, man. It's been some months ago before I went into it. Okay. Well, overall, we know that there are nations that's ahead of America, and we know that these nations agree and these governments agree with a digital currency, and it's all under the banner, all right, of these elite Edomite central bankers, okay, who want to control the planet Earth, okay, through currency, okay. Because when you go into the scriptures, let's get some scriptures, and we'll go into a few videos. I'll probably look up some more things while the video is playing. But when you go into the scriptures, first let's deal with the book of Proverbs. All right. We go Proverbs 22. All right, Proverbs 22:7. And this is pretty much their elite banker. This is their philosophy of how they run the world. They say the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. And the bankers want to keep the world, okay, as lenders. You see, and how the bankers have came to power, okay, is to put these governments in debt, okay, to these bankers, to these major IMF loans. Remember, there's over 190 countries that deal with the IMF, which that's the lending, okay, the lending entity of the elite bankers, okay. That's their entity which they make these loans to these nations and put these nations in debt, okay. And if you're in debt, well, guess what? You're a servant to your indebtor, who you're indebted to, your creditor, okay. And the elites, they have all this capital, so they can just have an open line of credit for these nations. All right, that's why they continue to keep, because that's one thing about it. The elites don't care about who actually wins a war. Okay, they play a money game. All right, they play a control game. You see, because you can win a war, but if that war puts you in debt, well, you got to go see the IMF. Okay, and if they can keep your country in debt, all right, well, guess what? They can control the labor of the people, because the people is the collateral. You see, so they play this money game, all right, with these nations. All right, they're keeping these nations in the need for a loan. And that's why you see this war waged on Iran. They need Iran to go into debt. Okay? That's the angle that the bankers come from. You see? The actual, war itself, all right, doesn't matter to them. They don't care about American troops and American lives. Okay? They care about the agenda, okay, of putting these nations in debt, so these nations can be in servitude, okay, to this banking system, which is getting ready to go digital, man. Okay. And Esau has a very foolish ambition, to think that through this digital system, he's going to play, okay, the Most High. Now, when you go to Proverbs 5, all right, let's go here. Proverbs chapter 5, verse 21. It says, "For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he pondereth all his goings." So the Lord got the spirit on Esau, to have this foolish ambition to try to pull this off. And the Lord just looking at this nigga, man. Okay? All his wickedness is being reported. And the Lord is letting him get to a certain point. He's going to allow him to achieve, okay, certain things within this agenda before he intervenes. And we know when he makes this thing mandated, it's over. Okay? Anyway, you talking about, because things are moving fast now, but when he mandates this technology, when he hits the switch, okay, to this new world order, when he pulls the lever and completely destroys the old system and rolls out the new system, when he has it, operational to a degree, which is going to be tacky. Just me speaking personally as a man, I believe it's going to be tacky as all out hell. Okay. But when he gets to the point to where he can mandate this thing, things are going to accelerate super fast, man. Okay. To the return of Yahushua. It says his own iniquity shall take the wicked himself. Okay. So his own wickedness, his own iniquity, his own, treachery is going to destroy himself. Okay. Because this war, he's not going to be able to put the fire out on this war. Just because he's made, the sea hip mandatory. All right. He's not going to be able to put out the fire that he started with this war. It says that he shall be holding with the cords of his sins. Yeah, this devil has a debt to pay. See, he gets off on people being in debt to him. That gives him leverage to where he has control. Okay, in the digital system, we'll be forever debt slaves. Okay, now he wants our behavior as leverage. That's why you have a social credit system. He wants behavior to be the leverage, not money itself, but behavior, which is going to determine the access to this new currency. All right, as we see in China. Okay, so now he wants to use your behavior as a leverage, man. You see, in this new system. But this man doesn't understand the same way that he's put people in debt. Well, guess what? He's indebted to the Most High. Because all this wickedness that's been unjudged, well, it has to be judged. We serve a righteous power, and righteous judgment has to go forth. So the Most High is going to call in, this nigga Tab for his wickedness, man. And it's going to lead to America being turned into a desert. Okay? And the remnant of you Edomites and you heathens, you go into captivity. You see? Because you heathens, you have been a part of that tab too. Because you're in alliance, you governments, you oligarchs, or you heathens, you're in alliance with Esau Edom. So guess what? You're on that tab too. What Big Worm said, I'm killing you and him. And that's how Yahushua coming back. Now I'm dealing with you and them. You see? All right. So this is Proverbs 5:23 said, he shall die without instruction and in the greatness of his folly. Yeah, in the peak of his folly. Because we see this man peaking out in his folly, man. Okay. The data centers, the AI, the flock security cameras, he started this war. This is the peak, the greatness of his folly. He shall go astray, which means what, man? He's going to go astray. Things are going to go left. See, the Most High is putting left turns in the game that this devil ain't playing for. There's certain things that are happening that he can't plan for. And the Most High is causing this man to go astray. And that's why this thing is getting tacky, man. Okay? That's why now it's a feeling that this nigga throwing a lot of this shit together. Okay? Because remember, he's behind. Because it's up to the elites. We would have been in the New World Order, man. Okay? But it's all the timing of the Lord. Okay? So, let's go to this first video real quick. All right. She's going to talk about this system. So let's play a little bit of this.
This is moving very, very quickly. And Washington right now is in deep debate. Listening to know is financial system, which is no longer going to be financial system as we know it. It's a control system. And what you do is you do everything to slow them down or stop them. Because this is a vision that if the bankers control fiscal policy, that is the end of taxation with representation. That is the end of the Constitution. So the other thing we need to do is make sure the system never goes all digital. So we've been working for years to promote cash and to help people understand, start today, use as much cash as you can. And cash is becoming in many places more popular. One, we're dealing with inflation, which
And that ain't the solution. All these people, that understands, what's going on. They're optimistic as if they can fix the system within the system. No. Okay, using cash is not the solution for what these devils are trying to do. See, the only solution is in the scriptures. Okay, the only solutions to what we see going on is in the scriptures. If a brother want to post Psalms, let me see which one is it. It's a chapter. Yeah, let's post Psalms 124. Well, I might have to read it because I might have to go. But if a brother can post Psalms 124 verses 1 through 8, because that's the only solution is Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. Okay, using cash, okay, has no effect because there's gonna come a time when cash is not accepted. Okay, it's gonna come a time when cash won't be accepted. Okay, you're gonna have to have that device to buy and sell. Okay, you're gonna tank. They're intentionally tanking the dollar. If they set this system up and get their infrastructure, to the point to where they hit the switch. Okay, they're tanking the dollar on purpose, man.
is likely to get worse. And cash is a way to protect yourself because the fees are really draining a big portion of the GDP in place. But the other thing is there have been so many natural disasters where if people didn't have cash, they were in real trouble. The leaders of Scandinavian central banks and the flood in Tennessee, North Carolina, Scandinavian central banks came out and said, it was a mistake to roll back cash. We can't trust that electricity is always going to work. We need cash. And I think there's a lot of young people who've had it with the encroachment of the surveillance and the digital control. And the programmable money and the digital control grid depend on 3 pillars to execute. One is the programmable money, and that's why you see the Clarity Act and this other legislation happening. The second is the digital ID, which they tried to use the vaccine to implement. But the third thing is you need all the local surveillance and hardware. And as the flock cameras and the state, the override of local controls on the telecommunication and the data centers are going in, people are going like, what is this? Right. And I don't know if you've been watching the debate on the kill switch in the cars. Somebody just told me a story. It happened to somebody in Europe. Their car stalled out and wouldn't start. And they got a voice that said, I can't see your eyes. It was spooky. So as the hardware rolls out, people can see it. If I'm talking about programmable money or digital ID, they can't see it the way they can see a flock camera or they can see a data center suck up. They're installing one of the largest so far in Utah. And the projected energy use is ultimately, when it's at its full capacity, is 3 times the energy now used by the state of Utah. So if you look at what they project in terms of energy need or water need or other minerals and metals, I don't see how they get there. But the other thing is, if you look at the size that they're projecting in terms of data capacity, one of my questions, and I have no idea of knowing the answer, are the U.S. data centers meant to handle U.S. programmable money and control? Or is it global money and control? Because if you're pushing out digital tokens and you're pushing out stable coins to the whole world, they may be trying to get the whole world in the system. You look at all the people who built this in the component parts, and we look at our neighbors or friends who are building it, and we think they would never do that. And it's true, they would never do that. They don't see where the system's going. And part of the reason is, if you're a healthy, grounded person, it's very hard for you to understand or relate to the fact that there's a certain portion of the people.
She made a point when she said the masses are building out. all right, the infrastructure. So yeah, and that's true, because one thing about American society, especially in America, but Western society, is that people work these jobs to where all you might do is make batteries, or all you might do is make steel plates, or all you might do is make this and make that, but you don't see the overall system, okay, and what it's building, okay. You might make this part, you might just make John Deere, motors, okay, or heavy equipment motors. Well, the heavy equipment is being used to do what? Build data centers, okay. You might just make turbine generators. Well, these turbine generators, you might just make one part of a turbine generator. That's your job. That's your profession. You don't know that you're building, okay, the digital prison. You see, you just build one piece of a piece, so you got all these different jobs, and a lot of these jobs, that's why uh it's so easy to lay people off, because a lot of these jobs are not needed for society. A lot of these jobs, they're on the market, they exist to build towards this digital infrastructure, man. Okay, so people don't see how they're building the system. It just hit me when she said it this morning. I was listening to her like, damn, that makes sense. Okay, so while you might build this piece, you just do this all day. That's all you know. You just make these metal plates. You don't know what they're for. Okay, you just make these camera lenses. That's all your company do, is just make these camera lenses. But it's all going towards the digital infrastructure, and the elites have people building their own prison. You see? So this plays a little more.
You want to call them sociopaths or psychopaths, or they've functioned at an elite status and have just gotten divorced from the general. Is you can't fathom that anybody would want to load digital material into your body and hook you up to the internet on a surveillance basis. They can't fathom that. Now, I can fathom that because I've worked there and I can connect the dots between what's happening. So
99% of law firms have no idea how to allocate their money to build the.
So when I was on Wall Street, there was a theory that you could make enough money and then you could protect yourself from the central control, and it was true. The more they centralize with digital technology, the smaller that group gets. And you go through all these waves of people who think they're insiders, and then suddenly, we re-engineer and a whole bunch of, millions of insiders get thrown off, and it tightens up, and it just keeps moving up and tightening up. And everybody's trying to scramble to get into that smaller and smaller group. And
it makes sense. Everybody's trying to scramble. So that's why you see a lot of money grabs being had, with these underlings, like Trump and his tier of Edomites. Okay, because there's probably 10 different tiers before you get to the elites, from people like Trump. Okay, when you see Trump and his cronies, they're doing these money grabs, manipulating the market, so you see some Edomites doing these money grabs because they want to be in their circle as individuals. And then on the global scale, you see these nations, okay, they want to be in their circle of power in this new world order. They don't want to be left out. They see what it feels like to be left out of their circle of power. Okay, so these nations like Russia, China, all right, Iran, you see, they're vying, to be in that circle of power. They don't want to be left out. Okay, so this is why you see a money grab, for certain individuals, on the lower tier of the wealthy, they want to be in their circle. And then you have these nations, okay, you see them beginning to scramble for these resources because they want to be in their power circle, man. You see? And this is what's going to, this is the fire that's going to keep this war, escalating in the background, okay, until it throws off, until it overwhelms the whole agenda, okay, because eventually this war going to escalate to the return of Yahushua, man. So the Lord got this thing mapped out perfectly, man. So let's play this.
That's part of what you're watching with the global competition. And one of the reasons that I sort of walked out and went to the wilderness, I said, people who are not trying to get the next Petri to get up the ladder and are going to start to build something that's a real civilization. Because, this scramble up to the top is never, the question is when you're going to get dunked out, not if. So here's the thing. That's a complex topic. I run an investment screen. So I have two companies. One is an investment screen. So there are periods when, if you're not in the momentum stocks, you're going to be out of the index.
So yeah, she's going to speak about her little company, but let's get these precepts and then segue to the next video, okay? But yeah, so the system is being rolled out, okay, and it's going from the governments of old to the government of bankers, okay, which is technocracy. So when you go here real quick, like I said, all these analysts, and they know what's going on the inside, but they don't have no solution. And the only solution is Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. That's why you go to GMS, spiritual arc. All right, 144. The Psalms 124:1. It says, if it had not been for the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say. If it had not been for the Lord who was on our side, when men rose up against us, man. Okay, so the only thing, all right, that's going to hinder Esau, all right, from doing what he wants to do is the Lord intervening. Okay, and the Lord is doing this to showcase power. You see, the Lord raised Esau up just to show his power, man. That's it. All these other agendas that Esau got and this and that and Agenda 2030 and so the development, sustainable, sustainable development goals and nah, man, the Lord didn't raise this nigga up to fulfill everything he wants to do. Okay, the Lord raised Esau up, to achieve particular, all right, things pertaining to prophecy, and then the Lord will wipe this nigga out, man. Okay? That the Lord has a solution. You see, the solution is the elites. The world has an Edomite problem, not a financial system problem. It's an Edomite problem. Okay? So it's capitalism, okay, fascism, Marxism, communism. No, the world has an Edomite problem. It don't matter what style of government you try to bring in, what type of economy you try to bring in, as long as Esau Edom is in power, it's going to always be off and wicked. Okay, and it's going to be a tyrannical system, man. Okay, that destroys the earth, that destroys people, and it keeps nations continually in war. Okay, corrupt governments. No, it's because of Esau, man. And that's who the Lord is coming to address. Verse 3 says, then they had swallowed us up quick when their wrath was kindled against us, because we know, when it comes to silencing, the alternative narrative, that we're at the top of the list. And the devil, he's going to make his move. You see? Because he knows that as long as this word is going forth, he can never be at rest in this kingdom, man. Okay? And we're here to be a pest to this nigga and his agenda. See, that's what we're here to do. To be a pest to what Esau is trying to pull off, man. Okay? So this devil, you best believe we're in his crosshairs, man. But when he makes his move, the Lord gonna make his move. Then the waters had overwhelmed us. The stream had gone over our soul. Yeah, the proud waters. And that's Esau. Okay? Because this devil, he's going to throw everything he got to keep himself in power and to try to establish his new world order, man. He's going to go all out. Why wouldn't he? He got everything to lose and nothing to gain. You see? It said, blessed be the Lord who have not given us as a prey to their teeth. You see? It says our soul is escaped as a bird out of the snare of the fowlers. Okay, and Esau is the fowler. And he set this digital snare. Okay? But it says we're going to escape as a bird. And how does a bird escape? It flies away. Okay, we're going to be delivered, all right, as America is being hammered with missiles, man. You see, we're going to be getting delivered while America is just being pummeled with these missiles, man. Okay, and everything that these devils are building up is going to be destroyed, man. This whole New World Order agenda enterprise is going to be destroyed. It's going to be melted, man, at the return of Yahushua. Okay, so as we're escaping in those chariots, destruction is coming down, man, and melting this man's agenda, man, his ambition. Okay, it says our help is in the name of the Lord who made heaven and earth, man. Yahweh Bashim Shai. You know, so ain't no solution outside of that. Okay, there's no solution outside, all right, of our power intervening, okay, and putting a stop to this, man. So let's I looked up some stuff real quick. You know, Google had me looking crazy earlier. So let's so I looked this up. It says the AI overview. It says several nations. I said, what countries are ahead of America as far as digital infrastructure? It says several nations rank ahead of or completely closely with the United States in specific areas of digital infrastructure, led by Singapore, South Korea, and Estonia, while the U.S. leads in raw hardware scale, such as hosting the highest number of data centers. Other countries surpass it in connection speeds, public, e-government integration, and digital connectivity efficiency. Connectivity and government services. Singapore ranks first globally in digital connectivity due to exceptional broadband speed, strong cyber security, and reliable power grid. South Korea maintains top-tier status for widespread high-speed fiber internet and deep societal integration of digital applications. Estonia operates as a world leader in digital government, providing near universal online public services and secure national, digital IDs. So Estonia already have digital IDs. Okay, China says holds a massive lead in total compute power output and eternal user scale, second only to the U.S. in raw infrastructure footprint. So America has the most data centers, but as far as connectivity and integration in society, they're behind. You know, so they have the raw data centers, okay, for the infrastructure, but they don't have the buy-in with the masses. They don't have the interconnectivity as these other nations, okay, that already have, okay, digital IDs. Let's see what nations already. You know, it said Denmark and Iceland score higher than the U.S. in overall digital competitiveness and household broadband affordability related to infrastructure. Let's see what countries have digital ID. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, it says over 89 countries currently provide at least one government recognized digital ID credential, with 161 nations utilizing digital technology somewhere within their identification framework, because digital ID ranging from mobile identity wallets to unified biometric numbers, adoption looks different across global regions. Okay, so you have, in Europe, okay, Estonia, Denmark, Sweden, France, Asia, India, you know, which Singapore, South Korea, Thailand, Malaysia, Middle East, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait. And these are main nations that in the Middle East that Iran has been striking, you know, in the Americas, you know, Brazil, Costa Rica, Chile, okay, Africa, Nigeria, Ethiopia, Rwanda. So you have this digital ID that's already rolled out. Okay, 89 countries use it, 161, you know, all together, you know, trending towards their way. And remember, it's like 198 countries, I want to say, you know, give or take. You know, brother can fact check me. But yeah, man. So this thing is rolling out, and even what we were speaking about earlier with Africa. Okay, let's go here to is Africa trending. So as the Africa trending towards a digital currency, you know, because sometimes when you on the AI thread, you know, you start veering, you know, from facts. But it says Africa trending toward digital currency. It said yes, Africa is rapidly trending toward digital currency, driven heavily by grassroots necessity, high inflation, and who creates the high inflation? The central bankers. Okay, and the expense cross-border repentance with key adoption led by stable coins, well, that's an American, okay, a cryptocurrency, central bank digital currency, and mobile first fintech. Okay, it says stable coin growth. It says digital dollars tied to stable coins make up a massive share of sub-Saharan crypto transactions, cutting down high, all right, remittance and transfer fees. Okay, peer-to-peer networks, peer-to-peer crypto platforms bypass traditional banking hurdles to provide instantly liquidity on mobile devices. Okay, it says yeah, so yeah, just to show that everything is trending towards that way, you know, and it's only so long, and the Lord is forcing Esau to where he's gonna have to hit that switch, man. Okay, so now when you go yep, brother, got some more info. Cue this video up here. So let's go to, all right, because this is a big thing about, because what you see in America is a kickback. So they're gonna have to come with it in America, man. You know, because all this kickback, you know, that they're getting, okay, in America, all right, they're just gonna have to come with it. Okay, they're just gonna have to bring crisis. They're gonna bring the hammer. They're gonna have to bring famine. You know, they're gonna have to really break America down. You know, so they can be compatible with this new world, you know, system. Okay, because America, they've been fighting against the data centers. All right, and now America is beginning to rise up against the flock camera, man. You know, which is the surveillance system. Okay, so you see, yeah, the brother got it. Well, it says 146 countries and currency unions are exploring central bank digital currencies. Currently, only four countries have fully launched a CBDC: the Bahamas, Jamaica, Nigeria, and Zimbabwe. Oh, damn. You see, so you got certain pockets of the world, you know, they're damn near in the new world order. They're just missing the chip. All they need is a chip to make it official, man. And that's why they gotta tighten up with America, man. They finna put hell on America, man. You see, the gloves are getting ready to come off. Okay, with you Americans, man. This cruel Lord, hey, they gonna put the pressure on Trump to really get at you Americans, okay, on a whole nother level, man, and really bring pain to bring you Americans to your knees, man, and have you begging, okay, for a technocracy, man. So let's play this, all right? Because like I say, it's too much kickback. You see, the devil gonna have to do something. The Lord forcing this man's hand to do something because it's too much kickback. So let's play this.
So they actually use these cameras to benefit themselves.
Hey, yeah, they would come. I look forward to you joining us at our next webinar where you can drill deeper into our bond offering. We currently offer. But here we're going to have the wild west of oligarchs who decide that you're challenging.
Like ex-girlfriends, current girlfriends, wives. So they actually use these cameras to benefit themselves in stalking cases.
From Matt Von Swole, police in Houston, Texas are asking the public's help to identify the mystery person who cut down 2 flock cameras on Independence Day. See, they know that the people are going to rise up, and they're quietly building out the infrastructure to make sure you can't. So there's a little news segment on this.
That cut down, completely sprayed over with an American flag on it. And not far away, there's another flock camera on the ground as well. HPD says it's investigating this, but so far there are more questions than answers. These cameras, meant to help solve crimes, now becoming the target of one, both cut in half and covered in spray paint.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the cameras were there until you actually pointed that out.
Juan Rodriguez's business, Spar Houston, is located by Washington Avenue and Westcott, where this happened. These are flock cameras meant to read license plates and alert police if they're connected to crimes. Rodriguez says he didn't see who did this, but he's left wondering why they did.
That's what it sounds like it would be. Somebody just protesting, their rights are being violated or something like that.
Flock cameras have been used in the city of Houston since 2021, according to the company. The Houston Police Department tells us they were notified these cameras were damaged on the morning of July 4th. As far as the repair costs, HPD says it depends on who is responsible for these specific cameras. While some cameras are installed through city contracts, others are done with neighborhoods or private groups that choose to share footage with police. HPD couldn't confirm who was responsible for these cameras, only saying this is an ongoing investigation. ABC 13 reached out to Flock asking if they were aware of this situation and what the repair process would look like. They didn't answer those questions, but did say, quote, damaging public safety equipment is illegal and puts the community at risk, which is why we strongly condemn this type of behavior.
Yeah, it's also bad for business. It's all about safety. So this is from Jason.
Now look at where these flock cameras are at. You know, and I'm gonna let them go through the list. You know, and I'm looking, I'm like, this nigga here, man, because we know the type of nigga Esau is. Okay, so let's play this.
Ambassador. Flock cams have been found at bike paths, nature trails, public parks, wilderness areas, community pools, reproductive clinics, schools and preschools, entrance to state parks, gyms and recreation centers, children's gymnastics room. It's not plate tracking, it's people tracking.
Now you look at this list, man. All right, and we know Esau's a goddamn sicko, man. And the things that stood out to me, okay, was public parks where people take children, nature trails where people be isolated, bike paths where people be isolated, community pools, okay? So he's looking at people, you know, half naked, all right? Reproductive clinics, you see schools and preschools, entrance to state parks, gyms and recreation center, and children's gymnastic room, man. And we know this man's a pedo, and you best believe that this flock camera is helping this nigga kidnap children, man, and kidnap people in general. Look where they at. You best believe that this man is using this flock, all right, to help, okay, him kidnap too, man. Look where they at, man. You see? This is the devil at work. You know, so I'm looking at this list, and we know Esau like we know Esau, man. He's a goddamn sicko, man. Okay, children's gymnastic room. Why it ain't just gymnastic room? Why is it children's gymnastic room? Okay, and no one's putting the 2 and 2 together with this guy, man. Okay, and this is what you Americans should be outraging about, man. Not only the flock cameras, but where they at, knowing what you know about the Epstein class that run your country, man.
To state parks, gyms and recreation centers, children's gymnastics room. It's not plate tracking, it's people tracking. Yes. So this is kind of sweeping the nation here. This is in North Carolina. Some footage of guys also taking matters into their own hands with these flock cameras. I think people should start wearing Mario Brothers outfits when they do this. When they go to take down these cameras. There they go. All right. They didn't do nothing. I didn't see nothing. All right. So here's a based cop. Yes, those words can go together when they resign. Police officer, this is from Wall Street Apes. Police officer becomes a whistleblower and says that flock safety cameras are not what we're being told they are.
My name is Noel Pichardo. I'm a ex-cop here in the state of Rhode Island. I'm regrettably an ex-police officer. It's part of the reason why I'm doing one of the strangest things I've ever done, which is talking in front of a camera, in order to inform you all about a concerning trend that's been steadily rising in my state and other states across the country. So in 2021, 2022, my city, the city of Pawtucket, the police department I was a part of, along with other departments in my state, started quietly signing contracts with this new technology called Flock Camera. It's a surveillance system company run by a man named Garrett Langley. He's the CEO and founder of that company. Basically, it's a very sophisticated AI software that uses a camera system to track and monitor every vehicle that goes by the camera lens. You know, it doesn't require a violation. It doesn't require any infraction. It only requires movement. That's it. And it records the make, the model, color, bumper stickers, you name it, of the vehicle that goes by every single one of these camera lenses. They're quite discreet. If you don't know what they are, you won't be able to spot them out. They're basically put on utility poles at the main intersections in your city if you have them. So to put it bluntly, you know, if you own a car, you're now being tracked. If I could put it plainly, for committing the sin of going to work. This information is shared city to city and even state to state without a warrant. There's no legislation governing this technology. Well, specifically referring to my state, which doesn't have any legislation governing this technology, even though it's been in use for about 4 years now. And if you're still watching this video, I'm assuming your temper is starting to flare up because it's probably the first time you're hearing about this, which I think is the worst thing about this, in my opinion, is that you, the American citizen, was never notified about this innovation, nor its implementation. Your consent was never required, nor even asked for, or even thought about when your city government was putting up this new technology.
Yep. Most people don't even know this exists.
Yeah, they don't care either. Try to tell them about it. They'll be this. They'll be say that. I'm telling you, people do not give a shit about it. And the ones who do, like, they're not going to be listened to. It's much like my dumb friend who is still pro-Israel. I'm like, trying to, the trauma of this show is I got to explain shit to people after the show, and watching their stupid fucking blank faces that see and hear nothing. And that's why we know MK Ultra continued into a mass rollout. That's how we know for sure.
Well, yeah, Americans are hypnotized. Like, there's really no other way to put it. They're hypnotized.
Yo, it came out that they eat your kids, you morons, and you're all cool. Oh, the Super Bowl, Bad Bunny show. You deserve to be beef jerky all in, and you will be, and you will be.
So yeah, man, let's get a few pre-sales. But as you can see, with this police officer, ex-police officer, he resigned, you know, and he's talking about the Flock, you know, and he said, look, if you're driving, you're being tracked. If you drive, you are being tracked. Okay. And that's the surveillance state. It's they're rolling it out. It's in motion. All right. And he just easing it to a certain point to where he can flip the switch. Okay. And he knows that before he flips the switch, he's going to have to cause unrest, man. Okay. He needs division. He needs people starving. He needs people desperate. Okay. He knows he's going to have to really come with it, you know, in America. All right. So, yeah, let's get a few more precepts. Let's go here. Because when you go to Second Esdras, because we see it's building up to that point. You know, as the scripture speak about how we know in part and prophesy in part. And as these things, you know, happen, prophecy becomes more clear. You know, because what we're seeing now, like I said, you got people showing up to these city hall meetings. See, these city hall meetings are becoming packed over these data centers. Okay, and the next thing is going to be these Flock cameras, man. Okay, you had mayors, you know, running out, okay, these city hall meetings. They can't deal with their heat. You know, these people are coming with questions. They coming to, you know, you have a few of them coming informed, but like he said, most Americans don't give a damn. All right, but you have a community now of people that's resisting. Okay, but most simple Americans, like he said, they're going to be caught up, you know, some celebrity gossip. Okay, some TikTok challenge. all right, while the prison is being built all around them. You see? But then you have, an awakening, all right, public, all right, an awakening population that's beginning to kick back, man, and actually, cut down flock cameras and spray paint them and put bags over them, you know? So we're seeing the beginning of sedition, man, and sedition going to continue to increase, and especially when things become unaffordable. You see, you're going to have, sedition amongst those that are informed about what the devil is trying to do with these data centers and surveillance infrastructure. And then eventually just going to have a sedition, okay, because people are not being able to eat. Okay, so when you go into 2nd Ezra 15 and 16, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their own power. Okay, so it's going to get to the point, to where these people are just fed up with everything. Okay, they're just going to lose it. Okay, and this is what the elites want. They want to create, this purge atmosphere to where you people, all right, unalive each other, which plays into what their depopulation agenda. Okay, and they're going to allow it to get, so bad. Okay, but most people are going to want some type of solution. Okay, and their solution is going to be to flip the switch to technocracy, man. That's going to be the fix all. Okay. Okay, and you people to merge yourself with this technology. Okay, because these people that are, that's resisting, this man's technology, well, when they can't eat, you see, their stance is going to change. All right, verse 17 says, "A man shall desire to go into the city and shall not be able to go, because of martial law lockdowns. Okay, they can turn the pumps off. Okay, but they're going to restrict moving as much as possible, man. You see, because they need this reset. They need you Americans, okay, to sit tight as they reset the system. It said, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid." Okay, so you proud Americans, you're finna come into some bad times. Okay, the civil unrest in America is going to be the worst in the world, because this is the most armed, all right, country in the world. To where guns outnumber the people. Okay, and then you have this sense of entitlement from you Americans. Okay, you've been pampered, and when these comforts are snatched away, man, these people are going to lose it. Okay, and go into outrage, man. You see, because they're starting, they're resisting now. They're going to these city hall meetings, speaking up, but they still can go home. All right, they still can go to the comforts of their home when they leave the meeting. Okay, they still can plan the trip and move around. You see, when it's gonna come a time when that's not gonna be able to happen. Okay, the Lord's gonna push the devil to really bring it. And see, the Lord is pushing to where Esau has no choice but to bring the hammer, okay, on American society, man. And it's a build up to it, so we're just going to keep following, all right, this build up, okay, and how it's going to end, verse 20, and show you that these two prophecies run together, this war, all right, and this technocracy, okay, because as this civil unrest, okay, is brewing, technocracy is being rolled out, this war is still in the background, okay, escalating, man. It says, "Behold, said the Most High," verse 20 says, "Behold, said the Most High, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, from the south, from the east, and Lebanon," okay, "to turn themselves one against another," this world's war, "and repay the things that they have done unto them." And who is the them? All right, the elect. "Like as they do yet this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, in recompense in their bosom. Thus said the Lord power." yeah, so the Lord, in the midst of all this, he's going to cause these nations to go to all out war. Okay. And this is the way the Lord is going to have these nations, the same way, all right, that these people are going to judge themselves in America, through civil unrest. There's going to be a lot of these people unaliving each other. Well, these nations are going to begin to start to counsel each other out. And it's all the judgment of the Lord. It's all the judgment of the Lord going forth, man. It's the Lord that's causing division and everyone to turn against everyone. Okay, but you have a remnant, okay, that's separated from the madness, man. Okay, in these days, man. You see, verse 22 says, "My right hand shall not spare the sinners, Yahushua, and my sword shall not cease, all right, shall not cease over them that shed innocent blood upon the earth," man. That's beginning with you at least, man. So at the end of all this madness that Esau is trying to do, righteous judgment gonna go forth, man. Okay, Yahushua is gonna be sent back, okay, to stop the madness, man. Okay, it says the fire is going forth from his wrath, beginning with the nukes, all right, then the chariots as well, and have consumed the foundations of the earth and the sinners like the scroll that is kindled, man. Okay, so at the end of all this madness, there's judgment, man. Okay, and we in the time where the Lord is finna send that judgment forth, man. Okay, so yep, we can end it here. The brother got that. This is the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 5. The brother servants for Yahushua 144. It says, Job 25. It said that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. And Esau's, he's at the end of his moment of rulership. Okay, and the Lord is forcing this man, all right, to become reckless in this agenda. Okay, and he's finna put the spirit on Esau to be a madman over here in America, man. Okay, so Lord will you, brothers, all right, and you few sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushua Bahashem, Makakodash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who will teach well, being examples towards young brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the whole collective. Shalom.